If you want to see what war means in Afghanistan, this is where to come. Kandahar Hospital serves some of the most volatile provinces in the country. Medical staff work around the clock trying to save lives. But resources are stretched. And every day brings new patients and new tragedies. 1-year-old Mohammedullah is one of the youngest being treated here. He has third-degree burns over 50% of his body. The family compound caught fire after being struck by a stray bullet.
The
youngest are often those who suffer the most. This child was injured in an airstrike by government or US forces. In a nearby room, a 7-year-old girl recovering after being shot in the head whilst her family were fleeing the fighting. Last year, more children were killed and injured in Afghanistan than in any other conflict.
It's very difficult when you see the child suffering or dying in front of you, and most of the patients there are very severe. That's even death on arrival.
The BBC spent 1 month here. In that time, staff treated 75 gunshot victims and more than 90 injuries caused by landmines. Most of the time, we only hear about the conflict in Afghanistan when there's been a huge bomb blast or an airstrike's killed a large number of civilians. But spending time here, you realise how often lives are torn apart by incidents that simply aren't covered in the media. They might be smaller in scale, but they still leave a devastating impact. Ahmedullah, a farmer from Helmand province, has just been transferred here after stepping on a landmine. He doesn't know whether his legs can be saved or if they'll need to be amputated. Civilians aren't the only ones paying a deadly price in this war. At the hospital morgue, the body of a policeman killed in a Taliban attack just a few hours ago. Waiting outside, his grieving family. A short while later, another ambulance pulls up. This is the second body of a policeman that's arrived at this hospital in the space of a few hours. The government no longer releases figures on how many members of the security forces here are dying because of the sheer volume. In the operating theatre, Ahmedullah has been put under anaesthetic. It's looking like he will eventually need an amputation. But for the surgeons, that's never an easy decision to make.
These kind of cases are growing in numbers. It is affecting our mental state as well.
So do you feel that? Do you feel that trauma, that psychological trauma yourself?
Exactly, I'm feeling it. It is affecting my family. When I going home back on the day that I'm doing amputation or other kind of surgery, I'm crying on my own family members, my children, my wife.
For baby Mohammedullah at least, there appears to be some good news. His burns have gradually been recovering, with the help of spells in the afternoon sun. His uncle's whole life has been dominated by war. He wonders if his nephew's future will be too. There are stories of hope and resilience here. But the horrors of the war continue. More relatives arrive to collect more dead bodies. A few days after we finish filming, we learn that baby Mohammedullah has died too. Happy endings are hard to come by here. Sikandar Kamani, BBC News, Kandahar.